Alright, so brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. Once again, to those who have subscribed and have been viewing my videos thus far, I do appreciate that. So today, the next video we're going to be doing is my opinion on why I believe Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever in NBA history. I'm not going to really be covering too much of his, overall upbringing. Just for this video, I want to get into it pretty much straight to the point of my perspective on why I believe he is the greatest. And once again, too, when it comes to defining like who's the greatest at their particular sport, it is opinion based. Of course, you can back it up with some sort of facts to help boost your argument, but it is, based off your overall perspective. Some people's perspective for greatness is different than others. Mine is just based off not only what you did as an individual player, what type of numbers you put up, how you were able to impact your team, what type of team success you had, individual success, like individual accolades, but just overall what your impact was on the sport in the time period that you played. And that's pretty much what I'm going to try to break down for you guys in this video on my overall perspective of, why I believe that Michael Jordan, as I said before, is the greatest ever to me. But of course, this will be a lead up to what we're going to transition into. I've been covering historical players, but of course, I want to start to do more than just that. So I have no problem having, debates. I welcome people to, bring their opinions to the table as well, because I want to do a debate, like a debate show as well, not just straight up just covering players. I'm still going to be covering individual players, but we're going to mix it up a little bit. But the point of this video is to express why I believe Michael Jordan is the greatest. So let's get right into it. So the main thing I want to harp on the most with Michael Jordan is, when he came into the league, the way he played the game, how his impact caused a great paradigm shift, meaning that his style of play and how his team was constructed, they were able to change the overall perspective on how to set up a team to win championships. Because before the Bulls in the 90s, any great dynasty in NBA history, whether it be the Celtics in the 80s, whether it be the Lakers or the Celtics in the Celtics in the 60s, or the Lakers or the Celtics in the 80s, any great dynasty, meaning a team that just pretty much ran their era, they all had a dominant big man on their squad. And it was thought that, to win championships in the NBA, your team needed to have a dominant big man. Not even saying that the big man had to be the best player, but you need to have a dominant big man like a Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The Celtics in the 80s had a combination of Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, teams like that were set up to win. Michael Jordan never had that. So he was able to dominate in an era that was arguably the most dominant era for big men. You had Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Karl Malone. You had dominant big men. That's what the league was ran by, pretty much. And Michael Jordan stood tall amongst them all. And then not only that, for those of you who don't already know, Michael Jordan averaged over 30 points a game for his career in the regular season and the playoffs, which is the highest in NBA history. He led the league in scoring 10 times. In 11 full healthy seasons with the Bulls, he led the league in scoring 10 times. In the full seasons he played, he led the league in scoring 10 times. And 6 of those times he won championships. The only other 2 players to lead their team to championships while also leading the league in scoring during those seasons was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who did it once in 1971, and then Shaquille O'Neal, who did it once in 2000. And what do they have in common? They're both big men, and they only did it one time each. Michael Jordan did it 6 times over. So the point I'm trying to make here is that Michael Jordan, he did it his way, and the way he did it was never seen before. And quite frankly, it has not really been seen all the way after. Now, of course, the game has gotten away from the big man a little bit now, but it even took some time to get back to that. I mean, when he left the game, the 2 top teams almost year in and year out were ran by the Lakers and the Spurs in the 2000s. And they consistently had dominant big men. We know Shaq, Tim Duncan, And of course, later on, when, Kobe got Paul Gasol, and, and with Paul Gasol, you can kind of say he might not have been a dominant big man, but he was one of the top big men in his era, quiet as kept, when he played alongside Kobe Bryant. Bottom line is, for Michael Jordan, is he changed, as I said before, the paradigm, which means what is thought to be the norm. He switched that whole paradigm for winning in basketball. And that's why his impact is so great and why people hold on to him so much till this day. It's not about exactly his stats. It's not about the fact that he accomplished what he accomplished. It's pretty much, what he was able to accomplish in combination with the numbers he was putting up. That was pretty much, an anomaly to people at the time. Like, wow, this dude is really, we did not think that he was going to be able to transition from just being a star player, putting up great numbers, to a player that was able to, just consistently keep winning championships. And this whole notion about Michael Jordan, just having the most stacked team and, he didn't play nobody. There's something I came across recently that I was reading about Michael Jordan, and it was a list of, top players to ever make it to the finals with the lowest scoring supporting cast. The lowest scoring supporting cast around them. And Michael Jordan had 5 of the top 8 lowest scoring supporting cast around him for a team to ever make it to the finals. Not just win the finals, to ever make it to the finals. I'm specifying that because the teams he went against, none of the superstar players are on that list. Meaning Karl Malone, he's not on that list. Clyde Drexler, Gary Payton, or Shawn Kemp, whichever one you want to consider the best player on that team. Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson. Their names are not listed on there. So basically what my point is, that whole notion about him having, everybody on his team, and then, the players he went against, they, who did he go against? He didn't play nobody. That's one of the most ignorant things I ever heard in my entire life. And I mean, you can look these things up that I say. So Michael Jordan was carrying a load on his team. That doesn't mean his team was full of scrubs. No, of course. But we cannot diminish what he was doing to assist his team in regards to leading them to victories, man. You don't lead the league in scoring that many times while you're winning championships, and, your team is just the most stacked team and you're not going against nobody. You wouldn't have to do that. Michael Jordan, the first player to, lead the league in scoring and also win the MVP in '88 while winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Michael Jordan, first player to have multiple seasons with over 200 steals and 100 blocks. He had 100 blocks in multiple seasons at the shooting guard position. If I believe correctly, that Dwayne Wade is the only other player at shooting guard that's done that. He did it once. Michael Jordan was the first player to do that. He did that in back-to-back seasons. Had about, 5 seasons scoring over 30 points per game while shooting well over 50%. Most in NBA history. At a player that's not a center. For a player that's not a center, For a player that's not a center, he's done that the most in NBA history. All right? So the things he was able to do on the court, just based off his position, were unheard of. Based off his position, to be a shooting guard and to be this dominant and it to be resulting in victories like that. That's the point I'm trying to drive home for Michael Jordan. Is the fact that how he played in his position, the position that he played, how that was able to result in victories. All right, that was not heard of. So I don't know if people really understand that when they try to say things about Jordan and who he went against and what era it was. I mean, you have to understand what type of impact he had and how he was able to change the trajectory of the game. Excuse me if I kind of stuttered on that. The trajectory of the game. And, that's what stands out the most to me. Also playing in an era where the rules were different. Not just hand checking, but as I said before, in arguably, probably the most dominant big man era overall. And there was no defensive 3-second violation, and the game was not spread out like it is today. It was a different game. So he had to play under those rules, with the game being a bit more physical, with the paint being more jam-packed. So once again, this is just my perspective on who I think the greatest of all time is, that being Michael Jordan to me. There will be a podcast coming soon where we do have debates on the time. It will be, greatest at certain positions, greatest MVP season, greatest rookie season, greatest finals MVP performance, or whatever you guys request. So I thank you for tuning in. Stay blessed, and you guys have a great day.